Hello, Vermont Red Pill here. Sometimes I'm so concerned with what's going on in America that I am not paying attention as much to everybody else globally, except for obviously Russia and Ukraine and Israel and Palestine. However, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in Europe that you need to know about. We dodged a bullet. I've said that before, but with electing Trump, we stopped ourselves from becoming the Cook Network, the Cook Global Network, otherwise known as the European Union. Yeah, actually the worst than cooks. I mean, I'm starting to think that the left Germany, but spread all out through Europe, maybe that particular party that never actually went anywhere, and they just changed their names and their image. I mean, what is the European Union anyway? Is that socialism? Capitalism? I mean, what is it? It's a point. What is the EU anyway? I'm relieved. I am relieved that I'm not part of the European Union. They are allowing lawfare to happen to candidates. In Romania, the candidate that won, I think this was about 6 or 8 weeks ago, he won. And basically there was a coup. They overthrew the election, and they said it was because Russia interfered with the election. Does that sound familiar to you? Because it sure sounds familiar to me. Okay, all right. So Russian collusion, overthrowing the election in Romania. Don't forget, that's also the country that tried to charge Andrew Tate with trafficking. So think about that. Maybe don't visit Romania anytime soon. It seems like there's definitely some authoritarianism going on there. Might be a lot of political unrest coming. It's not just Romania. I'm sure you have heard the news that Marine Le Pen has been charged and found guilty of embezzling money from the EU. And then she is not allowed to be in politics anymore. It wasn't just her. I think there were 19 members of her party or her staff that were all part of this arrest, I guess, or this bust, or what would you even call that? If she's guilty of it, but it does not seem like it's that. It seems like more lawfare. It seems like she didn't even really get a chance to defend herself. And if you're saying that I'm being crazy conspiracy person, what happened with Trump? How many judges went after Trump? How many judges are blocking things that Trump is trying to do that we asked him to do when we elected him? You think that the EU is immune to lawfare? Oh, no. They probably came up with it. It's not just an American thing. It is a globalist thing, all right? The globalists are using lawfare because they want to destroy the popular movement. We can't let them do that. I'm really worried about you, Europe, especially France. I mean, what's France going to do now that their front runner, Marine Le Pen, is just gone? That's it. Like, they went after her political party. What will happen to her political party now? I mean, it's not just Europe. Funny things were going on in Brazil. Bolsonaro, after he was the president or prime minister or whatever they have in Brazil, after he was elected, he served his term, and then, what's the other guy's name? I can't remember, but the other guy won, and now they're throwing Bolsonaro in jail, most likely for political crimes. If it's not Russian collusion, if it's not lying about sexual assault, if it's not election interference when you're trying to figure out what happened, if it's not embezzlement, they'll set you up with anything just to get rid of you. First, they'll try to buy you. Don't quote me on this because this is not me. This is Tim Pool. First, they'll try to buy you. If they can't buy you, then they'll try to get you out with lawfare. They'll try to ruin you, smear you, whatever they need to do to get you out of the way. And if that doesn't work, then they'll try to off you. I'm pretty sure that's what happened with Kennedy. But we'll not speculate about that. There's nothing we can do about that now, is there? They would have done that to Donald Trump too had a miracle not happened. And that's what it was. That was definitely a miracle. I mean, I will never forget that for the rest of my life, will you? Having Trump as our president is literally a godsend. Because do you want to know what we would have become? Look at Britain. It is overrun with immigrants. In Ireland, the most popular baby boy name is Muhammad. And they are being, the people, the native origin, the locals with ties to the community, they are being outnumbered. And pretty soon, I think their voices will be silenced. It's just not a lot of the Irish Catholics in Ireland. Where did you guys go? We were trying to go after Conor McGregor because he is a large presence, well known, and he could serve as a threat to them. So they tried to go after him, but it did not work. So I am curious to see what Conor McGregor does in the future. They might have scared him away with going after him lawfare-wise. I mean, in Europe, you can't even post memes. You can't even criticize the school system. You can't say anything negative about certain classes of people. They will come and get your ass and throw you in jail. They did that to Carpe Diem here. All he did was just post a silly meme saying, you know, if you're going to vote for this person, then vote for it on a day that obviously was a joke. Yeah, they threw him in jail for that. That's what they're doing in Europe. There was a guy, and he's famous now because I don't know why he did this, but he had his girlfriend's dog do a salute. He got in trouble for that. Even though it was the dog doing it, he was the one getting him to do it. And yeah, no, it's not classy what he did, but it's not a criminal offense. That was just the beginning. They've gotten worse and worse now. In Rotterdam, there were like 1,400 girls that were sex trafficked. It was a whole Pakistani gang group of guys. And they were doing this under the social workers' noses. They were doing it under the police's noses. They were aware of it. And they even told some of the girls there was nothing they could do about it because the Pakistanis or the immigrants are considered a protected class. So they had asked them, who did this to you? As soon as the girls described the men, they pushed them away and be like, there's nothing we can do. Can you believe this? That could have been America. If we had just kept the borders open, like Joe Biden administration, the Democrats, the progressives, what they wanted was no country and just an open border, like country as a concept, I guess. You know what? I think a lot of leftists just don't think consequences, ever. They never think, what will be the outcome of my actions? That's like an adult thing that like comes with life and experience. They don't have it. Like, consequences be damned. Here I go, keying Teslas. Oh, I'm so good. I want my virtual signaling brownie points. Yeah. Do you want to rot in jail too? Because that's what's going to happen to you. Do you want to be sued for greatly damaging someone else's vehicle? These people do not think through to what will happen when they do something. It's insane. But that is what children do too. And children generally learn that if you do that, here's the consequences, and they're not good. Like, you're going to have to pay for that, literally. Or you're going to have to atone for your behavior somehow. A lot of these people, I guess, have never been told that don't do that. That's wrong. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like watching the different people attacking the Teslas, and I'm just looking at them, and they look like privileged Antifa young a-holes who have not a care in their life and nothing else to do besides virtue signal by vandalizing Tesla cars and throwing Molotov cocktails in the cars, exploding them in Tesla dealerships, letting them on fire. These people are broken. It's not just TDS. There's something else that's just it's not connecting. And it's what will be the outcome. And I don't understand how or why this happened. Maybe it has something to do with short attention spans. Maybe it has to do with how people were taught in school. And those people sucked it up in a different way than I did, becoming like the soldiers of the leftists, the soldiers of progressives. They don't have to be told what to do. They just need a hint. Like what Jimmy Kimmel did, where he was like, people are burning down Tesla dealers. Don't burn down Tesla dealers. Basically, it was, I don't know if there was a full-on wink, but it was implied. Little bit of a smirk like that. But it was so slight. It was not saying burn down Teslas, but it was saying you don't need to not burn them down. Might be cool. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel's talking about it. You might be famous. And these people, that's like their life goal. They want to be famous. They want to be remembered. They want to have a life that meant something. And because they don't have religion or family, that's what they have. They have fame. They have strangers knowing who they are and maybe remembering something that they did. Or maybe they can live off of it for the rest of their life financially. Some people, they can probably do that. But we're not in as bad a situation in America as our friends are across the pond. There were 1,400 girls that were taken by Rotterdam social services because their parents were drug addicts or whatever, put in this house where the person that's supposed to be watching and taking care of them just allowed men to come in and out of the building or to like loiter around outside, soliciting the girl, saying, hey, I'll take you to a movie. And then she gets AR'd by 5 different men. And it keeps happening over and over. And she asks, please help me. And sorry, protected class, there's nothing we can do. We can't even stop them from doing that. And what we're really going to do is we're going to convince ourselves that we're so super racist that we have to just like not report on anything that could make us look worse than we already are. And we're just not going to talk about it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to keep it a secret. More and more girls are getting AR'd, and we know who's doing it. But tough. We can't help you because we sure don't want to look racist. That's not where we are, thankfully. But that's where we were headed. And the lawfare that was here was horrible. I don't know if I have to remind you what they did to Trump, but they tried to get him multiple ways. There was the bogus sexual assault. There was the bogus, fraud, right? He was charging too much. He was saying that his buildings were worth more than a bank assessor said, which is not a crime. They have their own people that assess it, and then they talk amongst each other and decide on a number. I mean, lawyers will probably do that, but that's what they do. It's normal. I can't believe that they tried to get Trump on that. That was Letitia James, and that was in New York. So think twice before you do anything in New York, since I guess they'll go after you for something that's not even a crime. They were trying to get him in DC, I think for, was it January 6th? Or maybe it was election interference. That was Georgia, actually. Election interference in Georgia. I mean, it was crazy. Oh, classified documents in Florida. Did I miss any? It wasn't just him either. It was his colleagues. People worked with him and his lawyers. They tried so hard to scare us away. They tried so hard to put Donald Trump away. And every time they tried, we just got more and more steel in our resolve to vote him in and to make sure everybody else votes him in. And that's what the podcasts are all about, baby. If you can't do it through the media, then you got to make your own. And I think that's the life journalists are living now. If you're a real journalist, you don't work for the mainstream media, okay? You're a citizen journalist, and you do this because you care. It's not for a paycheck. It's not for fame. It's because you cannot help but want to let people know what is going on. You can't keep your mouth shut anymore. You need to look into this. That's what a real journalist does. They don't look at a script or open up an email with all these talking points and then go in front of the camera and bullshit you for half hour, for an hour, whatever the show is. Maybe it's only 5 minutes because it's one newscaster, but then there's another one and they're full of shit. There's 5 minutes of that. And then there's another one and they're full of shit. And even if they're not full of shit, they're biased, sending you the news in a certain way so that you'll think a certain way. Just pay attention. Even your local news does it. Unfortunately, I can't even watch Vermont local news anymore. I'm just like, just show one side. Just keep showing one side and keep ignoring cases like what happened in Rutland with the trans female in the girls' locker room for the volleyball team. Just ignore that. Don't even talk about that one at all. A young teenager's life was going to be destroyed by like the ACLU because she didn't want a boy in her locker room. We won't talk about that at all. We'll put that under the rug, and there'll be a lawsuit, and we'll just settle quietly because people found out and they were pissed. So excuse my language. I'm not trying to be vulgar, but just thought I'd let you know what's going on. I thought that I would tell you that we are so lucky that we are not ruled by the EU, that Trump is in charge. The populist movement here is strong enough to overcome the lawfare that's taking over Europe and Brazil. We're lucky, but we have to remain vigilant. These people, these globalists, they're not going to give up easy. They're not going to go down without a fight. Look how much they're fighting, like Trump's first 60-something days. How many lawyers have tried to block him on things? It's ridiculous. And they're just ready to do it too. Like they knew exactly who was going to do it and when. And there's no way in HE double hockey sticks that judge, Bozaba or whatever, that judge would get the signal case when he's the one that's blocking the deportation case. They say that these judge appointments they say that these cases that go to the judges are random and they don't pick them out. I think that's bullshit. People need to look into that. How do we look into that? Because there is no way. And Robert Barnes is he's a good source. And he says, this is bullshit. It's been bullshit. And people need to look into it. These judges aren't being handed cases randomly. This is targeted. It's all targeted to destroy MAGA, to destroy the populist movement. And we have to be strong and vigilant. And we have to be on our guard at all times. I know it's hard to do and you want to just relax, but we can't do that. We can't. Midterms are coming up. We can't let the Dems win.